All right, so for problem number 25, we're given the function f of x is equal to 5x cubed minus 7x squared minus 49x plus 51. And we're asked to use the graphing calculator to figure out the possible zeros for this function. And then we're asked to use synthetic division to verify that. So the first thing I want to do is I want to graph this. So I'm going to go in here to y equals, and I'm going to clear all this stuff out, and I'm going to say 5x to the third minus 7x squared minus 49x plus 51. Okay, and they actually give you a picture of the graph, but it's not on the board. So let me pull it up so you guys can see it, and we can actually solve this too on the board. So if what I'm looking for is the 0 when f of x equals 0. So we've got a couple of potential candidates here. This one looks like -3 possibly, or 1, or I don't know, that looks like 2, 3.5. So maybe 3.5 would work. So I'm just going to guess and say maybe we'll start with x equals 3 and then maybe x equals 1 and go from there. So now what we're supposed to do, what we're saying is possibly x minus 3 might be a solution and x plus 1 might be, well wait, we got to back up there. Hold on, let me think about this. What we're really saying is x equals -3 might be a solution and x equals 1 might be a solution, which really means that x minus or plus 3 might be a 0, right? If I were to solve that algebraically by adding 3 to both sides, and x minus 1, whoops, x minus 1 might be a factor, okay? So one way to verify that is I'm going to do synthetic division. So I need an x cubed term, an x squared term, an x term, and an x to the 0. And so I'm just going to write down the coefficients, 5, -7, -49, and 51. Now, if this is a possible 0, then I can plug in -3 here, and by using synthetic division, I should get a remainder of 0 down here in the end, okay? So I'm just going to drop the 5 down. 5 times -3 is -15. Remember, the way that I'm getting this -15 is I'm taking this -3, and I'm multiplying it by this number, 5, and that gives me -15, which is how I get this number. So I add those up, I get -22. -22 times -3 is a positive 66, so I put the positive 66 here. 1 plus 16, so what is that, 17? Okay, and then 17 times -3 is actually -51. So my remainder is 0. My 0 looks a little funny, but it is 0, okay? So now what does that tell me? That tells me that this is 5x squared, because we're going to subtract 1 from each of these in the next line, okay? So just to kind of recap, what we're saying is that 5x cubed minus 7x squared minus 49x plus 51 is equal to x plus 3 times the quantity 5x squared minus 22x plus 17. That's what we figured out. Now, I still have this x squared term. I'd like to make this all products of binomials. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this term here, and one of the other possible zeros was +1 based on our graph. So again, I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna factor this. I'm gonna use synthetic division on this. So I'm gonna say 5 for the x squared minus 22 for the x, and then positive 17 here. Okay. So I drop the 5 down. 1 times 5 is 5. Bring that up here. I get a -17. 1 times -17 is -17. I have a remainder of 0. Well, that worked out good. So now remember, this was x squared, this was x to the first, and this was x to the 0. So we subtracted 1 from each of these when we come down. So this is 5x minus 17. Well, what does that mean? Well, what that means is that 5x cubed minus 7x squared minus 49x plus 51 is equal to x plus 3 times the quantity x minus 1 times the quantity 5x minus 17. And that's what they wanted us to do. Any questions? Do you have a question?